I don't know if you dropped it, but I did not catch your first name when we started talking.
My name is Aaliyah.
Oh, Elliot, could you spell that for us really quick?
Eiliyah.
So, Elliot, I think you referenced that you're 16?
Yes.
16. It's a young age to be dealing with all this. I know when I was 16, this was about the furthest thing from my mind. How do you feel about the world that's being left to you or the country that's being left to you and left to your friends and maybe your family who's around your same age? How do you feel about the future that lies in front of you?
I feel like our future, this political and the economic state of the world was not built for us. It wasn't built for us because it's constantly being ruined by things like this. When I was around 8 years old, I was protesting the shooting of Philando Castile with my mother. And now I'm 16 and I'm protesting here against ICE because this is wrong. This is wrong on so many levels, against so many marginalized communities. And I'm going to say this was not built for us. This future was not built for us.
16 years old, has already been protesting state violence for years. Do you feel like you have really gotten to live a childhood at all?
No, I don't believe so, because my childhood has been advocating. It's just been advocating for stuff like this. My mother and me, we feed the homeless. She had a nonprofit organization just for that because Minnesota was not set up for us. It's not set up for Black people, and it is sad to see. It's not set up for Hispanic people either. And to see how far we've come in the last 4 months is disappointing, and this is off of one man's decision to destroy an entire state for his gain, He's destroying what he's supposed to be protecting for his gain. This is not the USA. This was never the USA. And I'm seeing that now. I'm seeing that up front and close after having the violence acted upon against me. I'm seeing it physically and emotionally. And it is sad to see. This is arbitrary.
Well, yeah, thank you very much for your time. I just want to be sure that I'm not taking up any more of yours because I think at this time, even though the agents have moved back, I think they've shown that they're willing to use enough force that I want to be sure that you're able to keep your head on a swivel if you're out here. So thank you very much for talking to us. I appreciate it.
I will be out here for the time being.
Thank you, really. I appreciate it. I mean, what do you even say after that? Yeah, what's up, man?
I'm here in short, to highlight the hypocrisy that's going on. They're not here to stop immigration or anything. Most of this is theater. If they were against fraud, Trump would not have pardoned over 20 convicted criminals. You know, from Joey Blasio in Illinois, for Joe Santos to Rudy Giuliani to Philippus Formas, who, by the way, defrauded the American government for more than $1.2 billion. You know what I mean? And that's more than any Somali. If all the Somalis came together, we would not be able to defraud the government of that. But it just shows that government is corrupt from the top. They're here to instill their tyranny and their fascist ideals. You know what I mean? So I was following the statistics they're bringing out for immigration, so on and so forth, which was produced by the Center for Immigration Studies, the CIS. And they are a right-wing, white supremacist, Nazi-supporting organization that skew the numbers, that have been sued by multiple organizations for lying. And people like Stephen Miller are using those fake studies and fake numbers to enforce legislation and pass legislation. So you see that President Obama, for example, kicked out more than X million immigrants in his tenure, in his 8 years he's in office, which is much more than Trump is trying to do right now. You know, the way I see it is that there's a lot of theater going on. They're taking fake wins and trying to act like they're doing something. So when Trump says that he won Minnesota 3 times and he lost all 3 times, right? And his people and his supporters just believe that and follow it. It shows their level of understanding, IQ, so on and so forth. You know what I mean? So all we're doing here is using our First Amendment right granted to us by speaking the truth. But you see who the right wing people and the government are associating with. They're associating with frauds such as Nick Shorter and Cam Higbee and Edward Jacob Lane. And so on and so forth, who were convicted criminals, you know what I mean? So if you're really against fraud, are you really against fraud, or are you just against immigrants? Are you just against Muslims? Are you against, whoever? So the way I see it and the way we see it is that they're just skewing the numbers, saying whatever they want, and trying to see how far they can go. So that's why we're here today. When you have somebody that's being paid by the right-wing fascist organizations, like, for example, I'm forgetting his name, what was his name? Jaden Scott. He was standing next to ICE officers, and he's being protected, and he's yelling that we executed one of you guys. You know what I mean? So
just to give context to our audience, he's referencing some of the right-wing provocateurs who have been out here at the protests.
They're saying that the Democrats, or I'm not a Republican or Democrat, you know what I mean? But being somebody in the middle, watching both sides, and that's trying to be non-biased, you see the hypocrisy, you know what I mean? So when you have somebody that's saying we executed you and we want to kill and this and that, and Elon Musk is retweeting stuff, you know what I mean? Which I find hilarious. They're against immigration, but they have an African immigrant from South Africa. They don't know. He's just white, but he's from South Africa. When they were promoting the immigration stuff, and they started last year, they appointed him as as Doge, the head of Doge, and so on and so forth, to file corruption, to find corruption, so on and so forth. What's funny? When he had the resources of the United States government behind him, he did not find any fraud in the Somali community, and so on and so forth, right? But all of a sudden now, cases that were reported by local journalists, people who actually went to journalist schools and graduated degrees, they've been breaking the news and so on and so forth. Over 60, 70, 80 people were indicted and are in prison and they're serving time. Unfortunately for them, they don't have Trump to pardon them because he doesn't fit their agenda and what he's trying to push. So on top of that, what you see is we see Elon Musk, who has nothing to do with America, who has no skin in the game, who is retweeting right-wing, this and that, and inciting violence. We know who the fascists, we know who the people who are calling for violence are, you know what I mean? So, go ahead.
Just because you haven't said it explicitly so far, are you yourself Somali or?
I'm Somali. I'm Somali. I was born here, I was raised here. We all work here, we went to school here, graduated, we all pay our taxes. My biggest crime is having parking tickets, you know what I mean? So, and that's about it. But for them, it doesn't matter. You could be the model citizen and have everything going for you, but that's not enough, you know? So, when you have Stephen Miller, who himself was an immigrant, whose own uncle, his father's brother, and his own cousin were writing articles against them and saying, if the same policy Stephen Miller is trying to implement were implemented back in 1903 and 1904 when his grandfather came, he would not have been in this country and he would have died in Nazi Germany. You know what I mean? So you see the hypocrisy, you see what they're trying to push and what they're trying to do. So when you see American woman, innocent mother of kids, a soccer mom, who's trying to fight for her people, trying to do the right thing, the American thing, being executed in broad daylight, and then the government comes out, Kristi Noem, and they all come out, and without investigation, without due diligence, without looking at anything. What's funny is the only person that was a little bit logical and said, you know what, we have to wait for an investigation was the border czar, Tom Homan. Yeah, Tom Homan. He was the only person that said, hey, you know what, let's wait until all the facts and stuff come out.